Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim and this is Expedition Through Pages. It's time for another round of Tales from Two Trails, and this time I'm going to be choosing books for the month of July and I'm really excited about it. I haven't put out a video for a few weeks now, so I feel really out of practice at being in front of the camera, so bear with me a little bit today. But yeah, June has been really busy with fun stuff. I had a wedding, I had a holiday, and I finally got a job, so I'm working again. So everything just got a bit crazy and a bit busy, but I think I've done all right with my reading actually, despite all of that stuff. It's just making videos kind of fell to the wayside a little bit. And yeah, now that I'm finally working again, I decided I might try my hand at weekly vlogging to talk about the books that I'm reading. So I'll start vlogging today. Today is Monday, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not typically good at vlogs, but I'm hoping that I can at least do most weeks. We shall see. But anyway, yeah, so Tales from Two Trails. Last month I had a few punishments, so I actually had to pull 5 prompts instead of just 4. So yeah, that made it slightly harder for me to finish, I guess, although a lot of the books that I read were actually quite short, so I was able to... Anyway, let me just tell you what happened. So the book I was supposed to read last was The Elimination by Ritty Pan, and this was to fit the prompt Expedition Through Pages, which is essentially to read a book based in another country. For this prompt, I typically like to try and choose books that fit my Reading Around the World challenge that I'm doing with Emily from Emily Beth Hall, who I will link down below. Yeah, we're doing the Reading Around the World challenge. At the moment we're reading books from Cambodia, so this was going to be one of those books, but unfortunately I haven't managed to get to it yet, and I think I'm not going to get to it. I do have 4 days left of June, but I think I want to sneak a couple of short reads in there so I can bump up my whatever fun numbers. So yeah, because of my weird complicated, I had to read the last book first. That does mean I have to move a step back to the Expedition Through Pages spot and then step back again to the free choice spot, which actually brings me closer to the finish line. So yeah, there's definite problems with the setup of this game, which hopefully is going to be fixed in the next round, but stay tuned for that. The free choice book that I was supposed to read was Frostheart 3 by Jamie Littler, but one of my punishments meant that I had to switch out one of my choices for my TBR last month, and so I switched out Frostheart to Well Met by Jen DeLuca, and I'm actually listening to it now. I only have about an hour and a half or so left of the audiobook. And actually, for a romance book, I am quite enjoying it. I'm still finding it a little bit too predictable for my liking, but I think it's well written compared to other ones that I've read and not really liked very much. So I think it's hitting a 4-star at the moment. It's a romance set at a Renaissance fair, and I like that kind of setting anyway. It's making me want to like set up a Renaissance fair in my area, but I am very unorganized, so that will not happen. So yeah, I fully intend on finishing this book by the end of June. I've got like 3.5 days to listen to an hour and a half. I'll definitely do that. I'm also using this Well Met book to fit Aimee's viewer prompt. So Aimee from A Star Reads rolls a viewer prompt every single month, and I'm using it for that as well, because that prompt was to read a romance book or a book with a prominent relationship, and that definitely fulfills that. So that's why I kind of chose that book for this prompt in the end. And so that means the other 3 books on my TBR I also completed, which was really great. So I did manage to read the book that fit the TBR jar prompt, which was Animal by Sarah Pascal. I ended up giving that 4 stars in the end. There is some critique about this book not being very inclusive because it's very kind of focused on male and female like binary roles, I guess. For me, I did enjoy the book because it's written by Sarah Pascal, who is a comedian in the UK, and I do like her. Basically, this book is about her own experiences with being a woman and little pockets of research she's done here and there about relationships, about having sex, about jealousy, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I really felt like rather than like a non-fiction learning book, it was really like much more of just like a discussion of a very small part of a much bigger conversation. That's kind of how I viewed it. Like, I found some of the snippets that she talked about really interesting, but she doesn't talk about things like they're absolute fact. Like, she's talking about different theories that she's kind of come across over the years, and in her research she's done a lot of reading over different topics, but obviously it's curated to kind of fit in with the narrative she wants to tell. So I kind of read it with that in mind, just, you know, she's not a scientist, she's a comedian, and it was about her life and her thoughts and her feelings and just the bits of research that she's done. And so I thought it was well put together, and I ended up giving that 4 stars. I also read Cambodian Folk Stories from the Readalongs, which was put together by Muriel Paskin Carrison with the Venerable Kong Chian. This is a very small book with a collection of Cambodian folk stories that have been taken from a larger book that contains a lot more stories. I can't remember exactly how many stories the original book has, but Muriel Paskin Carrison and the Venerable Kong Chian kind of pulled together just a small selection of them and put them in this book. And so the format of the book is there's a story and then there's a very kind of small little paragraph just putting it into context or explaining some of the history and stuff like that. And then at the end of the book there's a little bit more about the history of Cambodia. And I did like that. I can't remember exactly what I gave it. I think I gave it it says I gave it 3 stars, but more like 3.5 stars. I did enjoy reading it. And then finally the first book that I read for June had to be a horror book, and so I chose The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This is a very, very short story. I knew it was short, but I didn't realise quite how short it was. And yeah, sadly this one just missed the mark for me. I was really expecting something different. I think that's what happened with this book. It just didn't have the like real spooky vibes that I was expecting like right from the start. It wasn't like that at all, and it's a short book so I don't really want to talk too much about it. And it wasn't until after I finished it and then afterwards I watched a video on YouTube, well a couple of videos actually, just kind of explaining the history around the story and what was going on at the time it was written, and talking more in depth about like the characters and stuff like that. But actually I had a bit more of an appreciation for the story. I just think that when I initially read it, it just wasn't what I expected. And so for that reason I gave it 2 stars, because it just kind of hit wrong for me. So yeah, those were the 5 books I was supposed to read from last month, and I ended up reading 4 of them, so I'm really, really happy about that. And yeah, so now we've just ended up on free choice, which is great because that's 4 steps away from the end. And I have 2 rollover +1s from last month because I forgot to use Aimee and Whitney's +1s. So that moves me forward 2 steps to genre pick. And for the month of June, I actually have 10 steps forward from everyone who joined in. So that means that we've finished the game, we've finished this round. And I'm really excited because that means we can start anew, and there's going to be some rule changes about how you can join in and stuff like that. So stick around for that if you are interested in joining in the future. It also means that because we finished on the green path, that means I get to do a book haul, which is a bit cheeky of me really, because I literally just got a whole load of new books for my birthday and some vouchers that I probably should have saved for this very moment, because I knew it was very likely that I was going to get a book haul in the game, but I was too overexcited and I ended up using the vouchers already. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the dice and find out how many books I'm allowed to buy for this book haul. I kind of hope it's not above 4 because that seems quite excessive, but anyway, we'll see what comes up. Okay, that. 5. Oh my god, that's so many books. Okay, I'm buying 5 books. Spencer is not going to be happy with me. This might mean as well that I've got to go through my shelves and get rid of some books because there's not much room left. But yeah, 5 books, and I plan on doing a book haul in the month of July, so yeah, hopefully that video will be up soon for you guys to see. Cool, so thank you so much for everyone who joined in for the first round of Tales from Two Trails. For my TBR for July, I'm gonna restart the game, so I'm gonna use my little app thing to find out what path we're gonna be starting on. But before I do that, I just want to run over the books that everybody read for the month of June, which counted for a step forward, which meant that we could win the game. So yeah, I'm going to cut to that now, come back and let you know about the rule changes for the next round. Okay, so let's go through what everyone read for the month of June. Now the first person, I'm not entirely sure if they read their book or not, but Michelle did say that she intended to read Love and Vodka in Ukraine, and that was, I presume, for the Expedition 3 Pages prompt. I don't know if she read it, but this month it doesn't matter anyway, so I just thought I'd mention it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, Michelle, if you did get round to it. Next up, we have Ruby from the channel Ruby Read, and she read 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty, and that was for free choice. Then Louisa read Nothing But Blackened Teeth, and that was by Cassandra Clare, and that was for the horror prompt. And to be fair, that sounds absolutely terrifying. I don't know if I'll be picking up that book anytime soon. Then next, apologies if I pronounce your name wrong. Just let me know if I have and I'll correct it in the future. But Nadja read Never Been Kissed by Timothy Janofsky, and that was for free choice. Then Danielle from McCarver read The Merry Spinster, Tales of Everyday Horror by Daniel M. Lavery, I think you pronounce that, and that was also for the horror prompt, as you could probably tell by Tales of Everyday Horror. Then Amanda from the Reading and Writing Life read The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle, and that was by Matt Cain, and that was for free choice. Marlene read Phantom Pains by Michelle Baker, and she said that that's book 2 in an urban fantasy that has really good mental health and disability rep, which is always good to know. Then we have Whitney from TBR's Den, who read People's Act of Love by James Meek, and that was for Expedition 3 Pages prompt because that was set in Russia, that one. Next up we have Ashley from Ashley's Media Addiction, and Ashley read The Last Wish by Andrzej Zabowski, I think you maybe pronounce, and that was for free choice. Then we have Amy, who read 3 books. So for TBR jar pick, we have Out Now, Queer We Go Again by Shauna Mitchell. Then for free choice, we have Stay Gold by Tobley McSmith. And for the Expedition 3 Pages prompt, we have Disoriental by Nigajevadi, perhaps. And it was translated from French by Tina A. Cover as well. And then finally, Heather just slid in right at the end and added a couple of books, and I still had time to add them to this video. So the first one that Heather read was for free choice, and that was A Spot of Trouble by Terry Wilson. And the second one was for genre pick, and Heather did her own genre pick and picked romance, and for this read Intercepted by Alexa Martin. So yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for joining in the game. I love seeing what everybody has read every single month. I really apologise, this month has been so busy for me because I have a new job and I feel a bit disoriented. I haven't had any videos out for ages, and I just haven't been able, well, I just need to sit down and make sure I'm replying to comments. I usually like to reply like as the month goes on and like look up the books and see a bit more about them. But I feel like this month has just like run away with me and I don't know where the time's gone. So I'm really sorry, but hopefully next month I will be back on track and be able to like look things up properly and stuff. And like always, everybody that I've mentioned, if I know of any channels, social medias or blogs that they have, I will link them in the description for other people to go and check it out. So if you notice someone is reading books that you really like, then you might want to go and check out their own socials if they have any. And yeah, so that's all going to be linked down in the description. If you've contributed a book and you have like a social media account or a blog that I don't know about, or a channel or whatever, then please do let me know and I'll add it in the description so that people can know where to find you. Okay, so there's not going to be rule changes for the actual game for the next round, but there are going to be some rule changes for what it means when you guys fulfill a prompt during the month. And this suggestion came from Ashley's Media Addiction, and it was such a good suggestion that I decided to use it. So thank you so much, Ashley. I really appreciate that. And I will link Ashley's channel down below if you want to go and check her out. She also has a TBR game that she plays with the game Boggle. And yeah, it's really fun. So I recommend Ashley's channel is just down below. But basically what's going to happen now is I'm going to do exactly the same thing, where I'm going to pick 4 prompts every single month. And then if you want to join in, you can read whatever book you want for any of those prompts, and for however many prompts you want to read for. At the end of the month, if I haven't completed one or more of the prompts, but you have, that means I have to take a step backwards on the trail. But if we have both completed the prompt, then I can take a step forward on the trail. So for example, if I land on a non-fiction prompt and I pick my book for non-fiction, if I don't read that book, but you read your chosen book for the non-fiction prompt, then that means I have to take a step back. I'm only going to use 1 step forward or 1 step back for each person, just because I don't want to move too far like down the trail or too far back on the trail. So what that means is if you read 3 books for 3 different prompts, I have completed 2 of those prompts, but you have completed 1 extra one that I haven't completed. That means I have to take a step back because you've completed a prompt that I haven't completed. If you complete 3 prompts and I've also completed the same 3 prompts, then I can use a step forward. You don't have to do multiple prompts, you can just do 1. It's up to you, but it's just in that instance where if somebody has completed a book for all 4 prompts, if that's the case, then I also have to have completed all 4 prompts in order to take that step forward. I just really like this change. I think it livens it up a little bit, and it's not so straightforward going through what everybody's read. At the moment, going through what everybody's read is really fun to see what everybody reads, but we all know that it's a step forward, whereas in this kind of instance, it's like we don't really know where I'm going to end up on the board because it's not quite so simple. And yeah, I really like the idea when Ashley suggested it. So again, thank you so much, Ashley. This is what we're going to do for the next round, and we'll see how it goes. This does mean that I'm getting rid of the punishment pot because it doesn't really fit in with this new way of playing the game. But I think that's fine. I think it's good because it completely simplifies the game and simplifies how everybody can join in. And it just means that, yeah, more interesting stuff can happen. So I'm really excited to find out how it goes in July. Hey guys, this is Editing Kim here, looking really scruffy, so I apologise for that. But I just wanted to pop on and say that I have decided that whatever square we land on at the end of what all of you guys read, then we're going to fulfill that prompt, and we're going to move on the board if we have to move. Like, that's not just going to be our starting position, we're actually going to do whatever square we land on after I've worked out where we are on the board from what everybody else has read. So I think that makes it a lot more interesting. And yeah, so that means I'll be choosing from August 5 books instead of 4 books every month. So yeah, let's find out what path we're going to be starting from. So I'm just going to hold up my phone with my little Tales from Two Trails path picker thingy that I made. Okay, I'm just going to press this button on here and find out. Oh, green! We're starting on the green path. And so that means I need to go and find my little green token so we can use that, because last time we started on the red path, so I used my red token. But I'm going to go and hunt down my green one that I made. Perfect. Let's start and find out what the prompts are. Okay, so we're all set up on the start of the green trail with the little green token this time. And let's go for roll number 1. It only counts as a roll if it goes in frame. So, yeah. 1. Perfect. Ooh, myths. This is to read 2 books, so 1 mythology retelling and 1 original story. Okay, our first roll got us mythology. So this prompt basically means that I have to pick a retelling of some sort of mythology or legend or something like that. And then I also have to try and find the original work and read some more about the original legend and the history kind of behind it. And so for this, I have decided to pick Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. This book just came out this January, and so it's been doing the rounds on BookTube, and the cover is really stunning, and I like the moon, so I'm really drawn to read this one. But this is based on the legend of Chang A, I think you pronounce it, who was or is the Chinese moon goddess. So I think what I'm going to do alongside reading this book is do just a bit of background research into the original story and the original legend and just find out more about it, basically. I think I'm going to leave it as loose as that. So in order to complete the prompt, I only have to read the book, but alongside the book I will be doing research to find out more about Chang'e, the Chinese moon goddess. And let's go for roll number 2. 1, 2, 3. If it's a 3, then we're going straight up here, so we don't want that, guys. Oh, it fell off. Gentler. 2. Oh god, we're still edging closer. Okay, so this one here is to read a STEM book. So a non-fiction STEM book. Okay, prompt number 2 got us STEM, and for this it does have to be non-fiction, so it can be a book about a certain section of science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. It can be about the subjects themselves, but it can also be a biography or an autobiography. And so I've decided to go with Isaac Newton by James Glick, I think you pronounce his name. This has been on my shelves for a really long time. I would like to find out more about Isaac Newton, although I do know that he wasn't a particularly nice man, so I don't know how much of a good read this is going to be. But I hope I do really enjoy this one and learn some more about Isaac Newton. Roll number 3. Oh, I'm not very good at rolling it actually on the paper. 4. Oh, good, we bypassed the arrows. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is random colour generator. So I will generate a colour in a second and find out what that is. Prompt number 3 got us colour picker. So I will put my phone screenshot thingy up here for you to see. And the colour that it came up with was broom yellow, which isn't, in my opinion, a particularly nice version of yellow, but there we have it. And actually, I did think that it kind of almost fits the lettering of this book, but not quite. Yeah, I had a brief look at my shelves and I couldn't really find anything with like the exact colour on the cover. But one of the books that I do want to read this month, because I'm one of the Patreons for Alice, who runs the channel The Book Castle. She has just started running like a book club with her Patreons, and I haven't been able to join in with it so far. But the second book that she's chosen for the summer months is The Reading List by Sarah Nisha Adams. And this has a variety of yellows on it. So it's not quite broom yellow, but I feel like if you mixed and matched a lot of those yellows together, you could possibly get broom yellow, add a bit of green in maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, that's the book I'm choosing for this one. It's a predominantly yellow colour, so I feel like that works. So yeah, for you guys, if you want to do this prompt, it doesn't have to be exactly broom yellow, but just kind of around that colour. I don't really know much about this book because it was only really on my radar because of Alice, but I believe it follows a widower, an older man, and a younger teenage girl who form this friendship by going through a reading list and going and reading some books together. I think that's what it's about. So yeah, it's probably going to be sad, isn't it? Thinking about that. Anyway, I'm really excited to get to this one because I think it is well loved by the people who have read it. And finally, roll number 4 is 4. Oh, we get our first key one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have no clue what this means. But we have also landed on the cup. So the cup means for the month of July, I have to make a drink inspired by one of the books I have chosen. So that's interesting. And now that I'm trying a weekly vlog, I will try and incorporate that in one of the vlogs. And in my next Tales from Two Trails video, I will let you know what happened with that. But yeah, we landed on one finally. I'm so glad about that. We didn't land on any of those in the last game. And finally, prompt number 4. I didn't know what this square was, so I had to look it up again, but it's just an F written in like a weird way, and it just stands for fiction. So this can be any fiction book at all. And so the one that I have decided to go for is Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. This, as far as I'm aware, is a story about a romance between two people who live and work in London, and this is going to be the book club book for my friends and family book club, so that's why I wanted to get this one on the list. So I'm really happy that I was able to do that. And yeah, also on this fiction square was the little cup, so that means that I have to make a drink inspired by one of these books, which I don't know. At the moment I'm thinking the most likely contender for that might be The Reading List, because maybe they sit down and have like a nice cup of tea or like a nice coffee while they're reading or something. So I'll have to see what I can pull out of it. I can't imagine anything from this one, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, I'll just have to see what comes up. What was the first book I chose? I've now forgotten. Oh, Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Like I said before, I am hoping to weekly vlog, so I will keep you updated on what I end up choosing for that. And if you have any ideas, if you've read any of these books and you're like, oh, this would be the perfect drink to make for this book, then yeah, let me know down in the comments. And yeah, so that's everything, I think. I don't think I'm joining in any readathons this month. If I do, I'll update you as the month goes on and let you know what's going on with those. I am still reading a buddy read with Leanna. I feel really bad because I'm so behind on that buddy read, but I'm reading Adulthood Rights by Octavia E. Butler with Leanna, and I am really enjoying that, but I am super behind. I've just been so busy. It's all gone a bit crazy, and suddenly it's the end of June. I also do still really want to read The Winter of the Witch, which I was supposed to do as a buddy read with Danielle from Bookcara, and time. What is time? But I do really want to get to that as well. So yeah, those are also on my list. Actually, it seems pretty doable, doesn't it? It doesn't seem that much just having 6 books on the list. So hopefully I can actually get things done and sorted and up to date in July, which would be amazing. If you would like to join in with the game, then details again will be linked in the pinned comment down in the comment section. And the deadline to submit any books for it is going to be midnight BST on the 24th of July. So you've got until then to let me know what prompts you fulfilled and what books you read for it. And yeah, then I can use them for next month's TBR game. Okay, so that's everything for this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye.